In this video, we'll start to look at strings. So strings is basically text. So here I'm creating a string. I'm in the string notebook number 6 in the GitHub. And I just add, I learned Julia and I love it. And I am doing this with quotation mark, right? So when I put a variable with quotation mark on the side of the text, it's a string. And it's saved in string 1 as a string. So I learned Julia and I love it, and I can see there is with quotation mark. Now another way to do exactly the same is put triple quotation mark. So here you can see I add 3 quotation mark, not 1 but 3. 1, 2, 3, and I save that. I learned Julia and I love it, same sentence, but this time in string number 2. You can see the output is exactly the same. Both allow me to assign a string to a variable. Now let's look at this. If I want to have a quote in a string, then I will have the exact same symbol in the string. So it would not work if you just do that without the triple quote, right? So that's why you got the triple quote. If I just do that without it, I can show you, just have normal quote, you will have issues. See below how it changed? Well, that's because you're opening a quote, so you're starting a string. And then here you're closing the quote. And then you're not opening it, and you got this in the middle. And then you're opening one quote again, and then you're closing it here. So it's not good, right? It's not clear for the machine. It doesn't know when something is starting or ending. And that's why if you want to add quote in your string, then you would do triple quotation mark, and then you can put 1 quotation mark. And when you print this, then you'll see, hey, and I said, awesome. Those quotation mark exist and stays. So you can use them like this. Now, what happened if I got a text and instead of doing like this, awesome, and a space, then I close the 3 quotation mark here, I just put the 4 quotation mark like that. So the issue you have here, and you can see it right away below, is you're opening the string with 3 quotation mark, quote in string, 3 quotation mark, I start the string. Then there is text, then I got my awesome as a quotation, and then I got 4 quotation marks. So the machine cannot know which one is the first, which one is the last. So it just start counting and it says, okay, 1, 2, 3, and technically here it's mean, okay, I finished my string because I got those 3 quotation mark. And then I open a string again, but I never close it, so you will have an error if you do that. So don't do that. You need to keep this space so that it knows that, okay, it's all string, I got a space, okay, now I start counting, and now I'm closing the string. Now, the triple quotation mark is useful also to print or to have string in more than one line. So what happens if I do this? You can see that here, everything that I had with some space here, because there actually are space, there I ignore. All the space before the coordinate, let's say, of the text, I ignore. And then when I print it, everything is pretty. If I do it with the normal, like the single quotation mark, then it looks exactly as I have it in the text. So you see, it's fine because I'm starting the string here, then I'm going to the line, and then I got all the space. So all the space are also printed. So with the triple quotation mark, you don't have this way. So you can choose how you want your text to be printed, and it helps. Now, look at this. So in Python, for instance, you would be able to add quotation mark within a string by using this apostrophe here. Well, that's not something that you can do in Julia, because in Julia, you'll see how you got an error. So why do I have an error with my string 3? Well, it's because those symbols, the apostrophe, is not for string in many languages and not in Julia. It is in Python, it is not in Julia. In Julia, it is used to define a character. So it means that you can have only 1 letter. If you look at this, then it tells you char like characters. And if you cannot put more than 1. Actually, you saw immediately the color is changing, right? So a string is actually a string, a chain of characters. So that's why it's called string, because it's several characters one after another. So it's a string of character. So that's it. This symbol is for char. Now look at that. When I do print of string, it says I learned Julia and I love it, which is good, right? It's the actual string that I had. I learned Julia and I love it. Now, when I do first, what is it doing? Well, it's doing, and that's why I'm printing it before, it's giving you the first letter of a string. And the first letter of this string was I. So here, when you use first, it's one more function to learn. It's I, and then it gives you information around this this letter. It say, okay, it's ASCII, it's Unicode, this is a Unicode, it's a category LU letter, and it's in uppercase, which is the case, right? It is in uppercase. It's uppercase I. Cool, so that's for print, that's for first, that's how you can get the first letter of a string. Let's look at how you could add a variable in a string. So I'll create a new variable with my name. You should do the same with yours, which is more interesting. And then I do println, hey, so everything like before. Hey, I am, and then see here there is a $sign and then name and then a dot. So what do you think will happen here? Will it print $sign name? No, the $sign in Julia allows you to put a variable in a very easy way within a string. So basically, when Julia is saying in a string a $sign, then it's looking at what is coming next. And if it's a variable that it knows, then it will just replace the value by the value, like the actual name, by the value of the variable. So instead of, hey, I am $name, I got, hey, I am Charles. And the dot is here because it was not part of the name of the variable. Now, how you could do exactly the same or very similar thing with a float, an int and a float. So I create an int and I'm just calling int. I create a float and I call it float. Now I say, hey, my favorite int is $int, so I will replace by int, and my favorite float is float, $float, so I will replace. Then I'm saying, yeah, I'm kidding, I love them all. I like all the int and all the float. So I run that, and you can see that it was replaced, right? The $sign int was replaced by 5 because 5 was the value of int, and the $sign float, not float alone, but the $sign float was replaced by the value of float. So it's a really convenient way to put variable value in your print in your strings. Now look at that, you can do that, but as I put in the comment here, I don't necessarily think it's a good thing to do that. I think it's not clear, and it's better to do any kind of addition, etc. before and not in the string. But if you want, you can do this. So look at this, summing my number from above, tada. And then what I'm doing is this, I'm adding a $sign only once, and then I got brackets, and in this bracket I say int plus float. Int was 5, float was 4.8, and then I run that, and it's actually doing the addition of the variable and adding that in the string while printing the string. So it says summing my number from above and give me the result, tada. Personally, I would prefer you to do the actual addition outside of the string, but at least you know that that works, and that's something that you can do with Julia. So we're good for today. I'll see you in the next lecture.